Take a moment to fully land here today. Start to connect to whatever you're sitting on. Maybe that's the ground, maybe that's a chair. Allow yourself to be comfortable here, yet sitting upright, engaging your spinal muscles to lift a little bit higher. Relaxing your jaw, your tongue, the space between your eyebrows. And then just beginning to focus on your breath. Your eyes could close or soften as your mind's eye starts to move inward, focusing on the internal dialogue. What is your body telling you today? Start to listen more closely to that inner voice, to that wisdom that your body holds. What is it that you need in this space, this practice? Where's your mind at this morning? What's your emotional state in this moment? Simply ask these questions and then observe the answers. What comes up? There's no wrong in this moment. You're just being the witness. You start to connect the physical, mental, and emotional right now. And take in a big, deep inhale. Fill the lungs as much as you possibly can, expand. And exhale to empty with a little force behind it. And then inhale to fill again like a balloon, fill and empty. Expand and contract. And as you breathe in this way, notice what is happening in your body. What happens when you slow down and expand the breath? Start to take any little movements that might feel good. Maybe that's through the neck, finding a little rock side to side. Maybe that's through the spine, a little bit of a twist or turn, or forward back flexion, extension. Just start to move naturally. And this is something that you can do at any point throughout today. Anytime that your body needs a little bit of movement while you're sitting in a workshop or a presentation, you can move. Continue to embrace that mind-body connection here. And on your next inhale, reach your arms up above your head. And just start to grow tall. Roll your shoulders down your back and lengthen both sides of your body. If this is a little much for you, you could also just bring your hands forward and relax the shoulders away from your ears. Start to activate the arm muscles and spread your fingers out wide. Take one more breath here. And on your exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, sweep your arms up and around or forward and around. Exhale, hands to your heart. You could keep your eyes closed or let them be open softly. not necessarily gazing at anything in particular, but just taking in the room that you're in. What do you see? What do you hear? Connect to your space and claim it. This is your body. Move it how you want to move it. This is your space. Let the arms expand out and feel them moving through the air. The next time you reach your hands up, pause there, lift a little higher, grow tall in your spine. And on your next exhale, twist to the right. Your left hand can come down to the leg. You can look over the shoulder. If you're in a chair, you might have your hand on the arm chair or on your thigh. A little gentle twist. Breathe down into the base of your abdomen and keep those deep breaths flowing. Always focusing on how your breath is in your shape. If the breath is restrictive or tight, maybe that's a sign to move your twist a little less. If you want a little bit more in this shape, you could reach your left hand back behind you, or maybe even up towards the ceiling, or maybe back behind your head. We're not applying a lot of pressure. We're not forcing the twist. We're just letting it happen. Take 3 more breaths. And then on your next inhale, come back to center, expand up to the ceiling, breathe in and out. And then twist to the left. Same thing here. You've got some options, different modifications. You could reach your arm back or up if you want to. Maybe down to the head. Soften your shoulders. Be gentle in this twist. 3 more breaths. Inhale back up, reach high here. And exhale, bring the hands down to your sides. Give a few big shoulder shrugs. And then move in the opposite direction. And then just pause for a moment. Your hands can rest on your legs. You might close your eyes and just soften them again. Before we get up and move to our next position, take a moment to just scan your body and check in. Just even from a little bit of movement, have you noticed any shifts? Is anything feeling different? Part of our yoga practice is the mindfulness, coming back and noticing what's changed, what's the same, and consistently asking yourself, what do I need in this moment? Give yourself permission to give yourself anything that you need today, whether that's rest, whether that's water, whether that's a walk away from your computer. Maybe you set an intention or a commitment to yourself for today, for this weekend. And when you're ready, we'll transition to hands and knees. Finding the center of your mat, maybe having a blanket or cushion under the knees if that's good for your joint support. We'll find a tabletop position. We won't be on our knees for too long. We want to stack the joints, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, maybe toes tucked or feet flat. Start with a long spine, send your tailbone back and the top of your head forward. Look down to the hands and lengthen the back. Flatten your back. Imagine that you were trying to hold a glass of water right at your mid-back point and you're holding still so that you don't spill it. Engage your core. And then we'll start to move through some cat-cow. On your inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze, and pause in cow. Tailbone lifts up and we're arching that belly down to the earth. Inhale to round spine and stay in your cat back. Feel the belly button move up towards your spine. Find a rainbow back, lengthen, and release your jaw. And then start to move with your breath. Your inhale will drop the abdomen. Your exhale will round the spine. Here, there's no right or wrong way to move, so make it your own. Add more or take less. Maybe you sway the hips, maybe you add some neck movements or anything else that you like. As you move through cat-cow, you can come back to your intention, your commitment, and let that be a grounding anchor in your practice today, something that you can consistently focus your mind on. Move with that intention, that purpose. Take 3 more rounds here. Good. And then come back to your neutral spine. On your inhale, sweep your right arm back and up. Take a few big circles with that arm. And then go the other way. And then inhale your arm up, reach high towards the ceiling. And exhale your arm, your cheek down to the mat. So a little spinal twist. Keep the tailbone lifted. Send the back up towards the ceiling, your cheek down to the ground, resting. You can press into your left hand, or you could extend your left hand up towards the front of your mat. Breathe. Deep breaths. Consistently coming back to that breath. And then bring the left hand right back where it started to offer some leverage and reach your right arm out to the side. Okay. Take a deep breath here and then place it down to the ground. Give a couple more rounds of cat-cow just to reset. Move the spine. Maybe looking over the shoulders, left and right, wagging the tail a little bit. We'll move to the other side. Inhale your left arm up, reach up high, and start to find some movement, big circles, spiral that arm out. Left arm can lift up, and on your exhale, extend down, thread through. Same thing as the other side. Tailbone extends up and back. Spine lengthens, maybe the arm lengthens forward. Deep breath. One more to hold here. And then we'll come up and out. Lift your left arm up to the ceiling and back down. Crawl your hands, one hand print forward so they're in front of your shoulders. Tuck your toes and start to lift your hips into a shorter down dog. The knees can bend as much as you need here. So in our down dog shape, we want to think of that upside down V. The knees can bend as much as you need. The heels can lift up off the ground. Really focus on the fingertips pressing down into the ground. Spread them out wide. Root into the hands. And breathe. Maybe move a little bit. Maybe pedal the feet out. And anytime your knees can always come back down to the earth and you can take some movement in tabletop instead. We want to find strength in the upper back and really lengthen the entire spine, the core. Start to engage the core a little more. And then start to move the hands to the feet, okay? Slowly finding a fold. You could bring a block out under your hands, or you could also have a chair in front of you and offer a little support using a chair. Bend the knees more, release the top of the head down, and just hang out. Feel that blood flowing down to your heart, your head. This is an inversion where our heart is lower than our hips. And we're letting a little bit of that blood trickle down, offering a different perspective, literally turning the world upside down for a moment. Release your neck and just let gravity hang your head here. Notice if you're clenching anywhere in your face or any other tiny muscles in your throat. Shoulders are back. Bring your hands to your lower back with the fingertips facing down towards the glutes. And use a little leverage to press into the lower back and rise up with a flat back. Lift and stand tall. When we rise, we want to keep the back flat and the knees bent. Squeeze the elbows together, roll the shoulders back, lift your heart. Look up towards the ceiling and breathe into the front of your body, big expansive breaths. You can stay right here or you can clasp your hands and draw them down your back. Breathe into the collarbone, the throat, the shoulders. Create space and length from the ears to the shoulders. And breathe more space here. So often we've got our shoulders crunched up to our ears. We carry the world around there. We've got the weight. Right now we're releasing and lengthening, let it go. If it feels good, you could start to find a little bit of a neck roll here, letting your hands come down to your sides or keeping them clasped behind your back. On your next inhale, reach up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hands to your heart. Find a strong mountain pose, meaning activate your legs, press them into the ground, scoop your tailbone under, root the tailbone down. Think about roots growing out of the bottom of your feet, like you were planted here like a strong tree. Feel the top of your head lift up towards the sky. Maybe you even imagine yourself blooming here like a plant. Connect to earth, connect to nature, connect to all of that beauty and abundance that is in nature. Imagine your favorite plant or tree. And maybe come back to your intention. What is it that you're needing today? What is it that you're giving today? Why are you here? There's no right or wrong. Letting yourself just be for a moment. Now we're going to move with the breath for a little while. Keep that intention behind your movements with each breath you take. Exhale to empty here, holding. Inhale, extend up, reach high. Exhale, fold with flat back and soft knees. Bend them as you fold down to the chair, block, or ground. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins. Exhale, fold, release. Inhale, swoop the hands up, keep the knees bent, lift up high. Exhale, hands to your heart, recommit, one breath. Breathe through the palms, through your heart, lead with love. Inhale, lift, reach high. Exhale, fold, soft knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands could be on the chair, block, or shins. Exhale, fold. We're moving with the breath. Full breath in, stand tall. Exhale, hands to your heart. Commit, take a breath. From your heart, leading with love, inhale, lift. Exhale, fold, flatten. Inhale, halfway. Keep your intention. Exhale, fold. One more round. Inhale, stand. Exhale, heart. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway, lift. Exhale, fold, and stay down to the ground. Bend your knees and start to move your hands forward again. Crawl back out to a high plank position. You can drop the knees. You can keep the hips forward so that we're still using some core strength here. Engage the abdomen. Feel your belly button moving closer towards your rib cage, lifting up towards your throat. Everything's a little bit stronger right now. Take a deep breath in and slowly lower down to your abdomen, all the way there. Untuck the toes. Take a moment here. Maybe you kick the feet out a little bit. Maybe you windshield wiper them left to right. Legs extend out long, and the hands come under your shoulders. Elbows squeeze in by the rib cage, and inhale to take a little cobra. Exhale, lower down. If that doesn't feel good, you could keep the forearms on the ground and maybe just lift up here for Sphinx pose. Or you might even just lift the hands and use only the back strength to lift your cobra. Take it a few times, lifting and lowering. Inhale brings you a little higher, and your exhale guides you lower down. Moving that upper back, taking it a few more times. And then releasing down, kick the feet up again and give them a little movement, side to side, letting your cheek or forehead rest on the mat. And then bring your hands under the shoulders, press yourself up and back all the way to child's pose. Now, child's pose should be a resting position for this moment in time. And if it's not a resting position for you, maybe take a different position. You could roll on your side, you could come back to your abdomen, or you could just sit up again, sit up nice and tall. Let your back really release, round the spine. Let your forehead rest on the ground or a cushion. Let your hands rest softly, either at your sides, forward or backward. Take a moment to just settle here in a rest. Take a moment to observe any shifts in your body, in your mind, in your mood. Notice what is present in this moment. And all the work that we do for the rest of the world, for the people that we serve. It's important to come back to ourselves, to serve our own needs, to fill our own cup with movement, with breath, with eating healthy, with giving ourselves water, giving ourselves rest. And simply just asking that question from time to time, what do I need in this moment? Because that can change in any moment. So as we step into this final bit of our practice, the last half, asking again, checking in, what do you need? Is it a little bit more activity? Is it a little bit more rest? Or somewhere in the middle? On your next inhale, press up, hands and knees, all the way up, down dog. Pedal the feet a couple times. Feel what this second down dog feels like, or second one of the practice today. Maybe the heels drop down a little lower, or maybe the knees want to drop down back to that tabletop for the shoulders to rest. We're going to step both feet forward this time, finding a fold at the top of the mat. Now you can get there however you need to get there, eventually making your way back to the top so you can step one foot back behind you. You could bring blocks out. You could also use a chair for support here to bring the hands up off the ground, elevate a little bit more. That back heel is lifted and pressing back behind us. We're going to find a little shift forward and back. So we're getting into a little bit more activity, a little bit more of those heat building poses now. Shift the hips and start to move them through space. And a couple options. You can drop that back knee down. You can have a cushion under the knee, especially if the joint is a little bit tender. We're going to find a big twist with that left arm lifting up towards the ceiling. You can keep the hand on the block, or you can bring it down to the ground. You could also pick up that back knee for a little bit more. So we're in a nice twisted lunge here. Breathing into the hips, taking deep breaths for 3 counts here. And then you can release your left hand down to the block or ground and step forward again. Fold here, release everything down to the earth. Shake it out, yes and no. Maybe grab the elbows and find a little ragdoll movement. And then step the left foot back. Lunge here. Shift weight forward and back first, just to settle in. And then option to drop that knee down or keep it lifted. This time the right arm lifts up for the twist. You can keep the arm forward, back, or all the way up. See what feels right for your shoulder. Anytime there's tingling or pain, that's a sign to find a different variation. Breathe. And release. Pick up the back knee and step forward again. This time we're going to step the right foot back and move into a wider fold. You can use the blocks. You could also use a chair here to press the hands down into the ground, the blocks, or whatever helps to support you. We want the feet wider than the hips, but not too wide that it causes any tension in the knees. Find your sweet spot and start to find that forward fold with a little sway side to side. You want to really get into the hips here. You can bend the knees a little bit left and right if that feels good. On your inhale, halfway lift. Hands can come to the shins, block or chair. Exhale, fold. Bring the hands to the lower back, and just like we did before, lift with a flat back. Protect your spine by lifting with the flat back. Elbows can come together. Heart can lift up high. Shoulder blades roll back. Now, option to stay right like you are, or option to grab the hands and draw the knuckles down just like we did before. So we're here with a wider stance. You can take a little neck roll if that would feel good. You could just look a little left and right. Good. Now here, we're going to take a little bit deeper in the arms. So come a little closer to show you. We've got the hands down. We're going to draw both hands over to the right. So bringing the hands over. If this is a little much for you, you can just gently hold that wrist right at the lower back. You could have the hands here, just gently keeping that in line, but make sure that the right shoulder can soften there if that's the case. We're here and we're standing tall. Maybe you're feeling this all in the shoulder and the neck. Let the right ear drop gently towards the right shoulder. So just a little bit of a drop here. Again, if it feels like it's too much, don't force it. Ease out and let that be your shape today. If you want to find a little movement, you could start to draw a C shape in the air with your nose. So bringing that nose up and swinging it down and around. It's a very slight and a very gentle movement, creating more space, more length in this left line of the neck. Relax your jaw. Notice any other little muscles that might want to tighten or activate just out of habit. Let's take one more round. And then we'll bring the chin forward, release both arms down. Now we still got our wide stance. We'll lift the hands up high and find a big fold all the way down to the ground. Fold and release. The hands can be on the chair, block, or ground. You could grab for the ankles or the opposite edge of your mat if you want. Just hang here for a moment, sway it out. This is another inversion. That blood is flowing to the head, the heart. The world is upside down for a moment. We'll bring the hands back right to the lower back. Use a little pressure, lift with your, soften the knees. Elbows come together, or the hands can slide down. Take a moment here. We'll prepare for that other side. So it's the same thing, this time the left side, right at the base of the rib cage. Again, that shoulder rolls down and back. If this is too much, we can just hold the arm here and get that same result without as much of the shoulder stretch on the other side. Breathe. Now it's the opposite ear. The left ear starts to move closer to the left shoulder. We're creating space all down this right line. We're letting that go, letting it wash away. Soften your jaw, your brow, your eyelids. Notice anywhere that's tightened, open, and breathe. And if it feels good, you can start to make that little C shape, just ever so gentle movement of the nose. Everything's a little opposite now. So it's a flip seat. Very good. Keep breathing through it. And then we'll gently bring the chin parallel again, the arms down to the sides. Give yourself a couple rollouts of the shoulders. Good. And then we're going to find just one squat before we start winding down to the ground. So a little power stance here, really bring it into the legs, the inner thighs. We're going to be sitting a lot today. So let's just find some activation. Heels come in slightly. Toes turn out. If your legs are real wide, bring them in a little bit so that we're just about, I don't know, maybe 2.5 feet apart, depending on your leg length. That could be a little more, a little less. We'll lift the hands up and bring them to the heart. Center, come into that space. Palms could press strong together. Elbows out, shoulders away from your ears. Inhale, lift your head. And exhale, sink into the hips. This can be a little sinking, and this can be a big sinking. Try to have the knees over the ankles, the inner thighs strong. You could even bring the hands here to activate the legs. Sometimes a little bit of a touch helps to think about muscle engagement. Stay here, tailbone down to the ground, rooting into the earth like you had a long cord of energy moving from your spine, through your tailbone, through your head, through your body. Strong and stable, no matter what winds blow, knowing that you have the stability inside of you. Even in the rough times, coming back to the breath. Take 3 deep breaths here in your power stance. Strengthen the entire body, every muscle active and strong. Tighten up. Last breath. On your inhale, stand up, flip the toes forward, and just heel toe them in. So however we want to get those feet so that they're back under the hips again in a normal mountain pose. Inhale, lift, and exhale, fold all the way down. Bend your knees and start to find your chair. We're going to find one more power stance. The hands can reach up or the hands can come to your heart. Sink your hips back and notice that you can see your toes. We want to see them. Lengthen your spine. Pretend like there's a chair that you're about to sit down in, but it doesn't actually exist. So we're having to hold it. Everything's strong. Breathe for 3, 2, strong core, strong body, strong mind, strong breath. On your last one, fold down, and then we'll sit down. So if you want to sit in a chair, you can sit in a chair. If you want to sit on the ground, we'll sit on the ground. Good. Notice how you feel coming back into a seated position after that muscle engagement. The muscles are strong. Good. Take a few rounds of cat-cow, this time seated. Inhale, chest forward. Exhale, spine rounds. Take it 3 or 4 more times. Breathe as fully as you can. Almost as though you were exaggerating each inhale and overemphasizing each exhale with more force, more intention behind it. Good. And then from your seat, we'll take a pause and just find a little more stretch before we wind down to our Shavasana. Okay. On your inhale, lift your left arm up and reach it high towards the ceiling. Roll the shoulder down. You can stay right here, or you can find a side bend a little bit deeper, reaching that hand over. Now, we don't want to extend and overstretch, but we want to really feel that length in the side. We want to be mindful of the lower back, keeping the shoulders stacked over the hips, and just breathing here. Inhale back up. The fingertips can come together. Now exhale to the other side. Little side bend here. Again, shoulders stay over the hips. Fingertips extend. We're feeling that all the way down the right side. Bring that left hand back down and bring both arms out like a cactus shape. And we're going to take just a few movements here. It's a little bit of a silly movement. I've heard it described as though you were trying to grab a pickle out of a pickle jar. So the fingers will move kind of in this motion. And what we'll do is we'll expand out, open the fingers and bring them in, touch the shoulders as close as you can get. So we're really feeling this line fire up here as we move. Keep the shoulders away from the ears, open and pick. Okay. We're working this nice line of energy, working a part of our arm muscles that often get ignored, and trying to find a little bit of length in the back of the arms and the shoulders. We got a day of sitting at our computers, so let's really open it up for a few breaths. Good. Last one, open up and then close it. Draw the fingers down, you know, the Thriller dance. We could think of that happening here. Shoulders soften, fingers down. Take some little phalange rolls. Wiggle the fingers a little bit. And then grab the right fingers and pull them back. Remember to keep the shoulders softening. We're not overextending. We want everything to be plugged in its socket. Take one more round here. And then we'll let the fingertips come down, just 3 breaths. And then we'll switch out, left fingers pull back. Breathe, soften. And then the fingers down. And then we'll bring the hands together. So again, let the thumbs touch. And we're just gonna roll it out a few times. So really bring it in and roll it out. If it's too much, again, always listen to your wrist, listen to your body. You can switch that direction and roll it in. Just trying to get some movement in the forearms, the wrists, and the hands. Last one. And our final exercise, we'll flick fingers, flick them out. Really give some strong flicks. The little trick a lot of massage therapists will use between massages to keep their fingers healthy. You can do this anytime, especially if you're typing a lot. If you do other sort of work that requires a lot from your hands. Take a couple more. And release. We'll move down to the ground now. So if you're in the chair, transition to the ground. And we're going to start to slide on down to our backs. If you want, you could lower through a little bit of core, reaching the arms forward and just taking some time to get there, or use the hands to guide you with the knees. Eventually, we'll all land on our backs, right in the middle of the mat, with the feet planted, knees bent. Cross your right ankle on top of your left and open up, finding a figure 4 shape. You could stay right here, or if you want, you could lift that left foot to go a little deeper into the stretch. Take a couple deep breaths. You can move the hip, you can roll a little closer to that knee or anything of that nature. You have options. When I think about that right knee opening up, that right hip opening up. Good. And then we will switch the legs out. Left leg on top of right ankle, or left ankle on top of right thigh. Open up again. The foot could just stay on the ground. The leg can come a little closer. We're finding this figure 4 opening in the hip joint. Take a deep breath and release. Both feet can come to the mat's edge and both knees can go left to right. And then one at a time, you can let the legs extend out long. You could bring a little cushion under the knees, or you could even kick your legs up the wall if you're near a wall. And that sounds like a good idea. Finding any comfortable position that you can rest in for our final pose, which is Shavasana. The final resting shape of our yoga practice. A moment to let it integrate fully. The movement, the breath, the intention behind it all. Coming into a quiet meditative space. And start by just letting your body release, fully relax to the ground. Give yourself permission to let go. Draw the movement, all of the work we've put in. There's no need to do anything else in this moment. Maybe there's some excitement for what's coming ahead today and this weekend. That's wonderful. But in this moment, challenge yourself to be with your breath. To notice your thoughts and to let them just wash over you like water flowing down a riverbank. Present, it's with you, but it's moved into the background. Take a moment to imagine yourself sitting next to a river or a lake or the ocean. and connect with that sense of being cleansed of that water, maybe washing over your toes. Or maybe your hand drips into the water and touches that coolness. Or you could even be floating effortlessly in the water. We'll let this metaphor, this water, be a metaphor for life. Taking a moment right now to feel no resistance, to feel that sense of being carried and being in the flow of life, doing what makes you happy and full, engaging with the world in a way that brings you peace. Taking a moment here in your river, in your water, in your bubble, in a safe zone where you can call yourself, observe yourself, and just be with yourself for a moment. And I'll call you back soon. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Notice where your mind has moved to. If you've gone somewhere else, come back. Take another clearing breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. You can move your body, toes, fingers, any other stretches to start waking up. Maybe rolling to one side, pausing along the way. Sitting back up when you're ready, either in your chair or on the ground. We'll close practice together. Sitting back where we started our practice, coming back to a full cycle, a full circle, a fresh start. Knowing that each day, each practice, each decision offers a new beginning if we choose it. Closing out your practice with gratitude. Maybe bringing the hands to your heart or just leaving them on your thighs if that's more comfortable for you. Take a moment to think of 3 things that you're grateful for right now. Acknowledging how much we have to be grateful for and the privilege that we have just to be here digitally with each other, sharing this space. I'm grateful for all of you rising and shining and starting the convention off with me today. Thank you. Thank you. Shanti, Shanti, and peace may you go. Thank you.